The Galactic Empire ruled the stars with patience measured centuries. They did not conquer through hatred but certainty refined into doctrine. Every civilization encountered followed identical curves of resistance, collapse, assimilation. Their fleets arrived, calculations, finished outcomes archived before first shots. Empires fell not to brutality, but certainty and overwhelming scale. The Galactic Council governed from monuments older than most suns. Its members no longer debated war, only logistics, efficiency, timelines. Rebellion statistics were solved, equations updated after every extermination campaign. Species capable of faster than light travel still failed consistently. Numbers never favored hope, technology never outpaced imperial doctrine alone. When resistance persisted, planets were cracked, populations archived, histories erased. Survival was allowed only when useful, submission followed swiftly afterward. The Empire did not hate lesser species, they simply categorized. Fear was inefficient, terror unpredictable, obedience preferred, silence, compliance universally. Earth appeared in surveys as a primitive, divided anomaly world. Radio noise, wars, borders, religions, economies endlessly fracturing, internally observed. No unified authority, no stellar fleet, no defensive megastructures detected. Earth was logged as a future footnote, not a threat. Invasion planning assigned minimal resources, junior commanders, routine timetable execution. There was no ceremony, no declaration, no ultimatum issued publicly. Humanity would be studied, cataloged, then absorbed quietly into records. The Empire had erased greater civilizations before breakfast cycles completed. Some species begged, some fought, some surrendered immediately, others complied. Outcomes never changed, probabilities converged toward imperial victory, without exception. Earth inspired no curiosity, no caution, no urgency whatsoever initially. Models predicted surrender within hours, orbital dominance minutes after arrival. The Council approved the action without discussion or dissent formally. Records marked Earth status resolved before contact occurred was made. No strategist considered alternative futures or anomalous responses from humans. The galaxy watched casually as another light-prepared extinction event. None understood certainty can be the most dangerous blindness possible. The Empire moved forward, convinced history already agreed with them. It was wrong in ways numbers could never predict beforehand, because humanity was never part of their equations or assumptions. And that omission would end an empire older than stars. The invasion fleet entered the Sol system expecting noise. They expected panic signals, evacuation attempts, chaotic broadcasts, desperate pleas. Instead, they found emptiness, disciplined and unnervingly deliberate. Earth remained active yet strangely restrained across every spectrum. Satellites functioned normally, civilian traffic continued, weather systems updated routinely. What vanished were military missions, command chatter, emergency mobilization signatures. To Imperial sensors, it looked like surrender without announcement. No planetary shields ignited, no fleets rose to intercept them. The Empire's forward scouts tightened formation not out of fear but curiosity. They adjusted models slightly, still predicting total collapse imminently. Human governments appeared fragmented, arguing publicly, blaming each other endlessly. Stock markets fluctuated wildly, riots flared then vanished mysteriously overnight. News channels contradicted one another, issuing evacuation orders then retracting them. It resembled a species collapsing under its own weight. Imperial analysts marked this as psychological failure stage 1. They had seen it countless times across weaker worlds. Species often destroyed themselves before invasion fleets even fired. Earth seemed eager to join that list without resistance. Closer scans deepened the illusion of weakness perfectly maintained. Human weapons appeared outdated, scattered, and inconsistently deployed. Naval forces were dispersed, ports undefended, command structures unclear. Nothing suggested coordinated planetary defense preparation. Yet something unsettled, experienced commanders watching Earth carefully. Silence in war was rare, confusion, more common, panic inevitable. Humanity exhibited none of those expected responses. They did not flee orbit, they did not beg or threaten. They simply continued existing as if invasion were irrelevant. The Empire tightened surveillance, interpreting calm as denial. Their models insisted denial always preceded collapse shortly afterward. Invasion protocols advanced without alteration or reinforcement requested. Earth was designated compliant within initial engagement window. Troop deployment schedules were prepared, but not prioritized urgently. The Empire valued efficiency, not spectacle or intimidation displays. They planned to occupy key infrastructure, then pacify gradually. No one questioned why Earth allowed such proximity uncontested. No one asked why planetary defenses were never fully activated. The invasion fleet moved deeper into the system unchallenged. They crossed orbital thresholds without triggering any response. That absence began unsettling junior officers across the Armada. Veterans dismissed it as typical pre-collapse resignation behavior. History supported their confidence overwhelmingly across millennia. Unknown to them, Earth's silence was neither fear nor paralysis. It was restraint practiced to perfection across generations. Every transmission withheld, every weapon dormant, was intentional. Humanity was not waiting for orders or inspiration. They were waiting for confirmation. The fleet's position, trajectory, formation, and command hierarchy were logged. Human observers watched, quietly mapping vulnerabilities without engagement. Earth allowed the Empire to believe victory already achieved, because belief shaped behavior more reliably than deception alone. As the Armada settled into optimal strike positions, humanity finished preparing. No alarms sounded, no warnings issued, no evacuation ordered publicly. The Empire smiled in cold, algorithmic satisfaction. They believed Earth had already surrendered. They had mistaken silence for submission. The first anomaly appeared as a calculation error. Imperial sensors registered a distortion beyond the outer planetary orbits, subtle enough to dismiss. Gravitational constants wavered momentarily, then normalized without explanation. Technicians recalibrated instruments, assuming interference from the system star. Seconds later, navigation grids desynchronized across the forward vanguard simultaneously. That had never occurred in recorded Imperial history. Before corrections completed, space itself folded inward silently. No explosion, no energy surge, no detectable precursor warned them. Something emerged where nothing had existed moments before. It did not arrive through hyperspace or conventional translation methods. It unfolded as if reality made room unwillingly. The structure eclipsed sensor range before visual confirmation followed. Mass estimates failed repeatedly, climbing beyond acceptable parameters. It was larger than any war construct the Empire had ever designed. Larger than city worlds, larger than mobile foundries, larger than moons. Its surface was smooth, featureless, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. No engine flares, no exhaust trails, no thermal signature betrayed movement. The object simply existed, and that alone destabilized Imperial command logic. Fleet formations froze, awaiting authorization that never came. Command AIs searched threat libraries, finding nothing remotely comparable. There were no markings, no language, no signals identifying origin. No broadcast announced intent or demanded surrender theatrically. The object did not target weapons or adjust posture aggressively. It rotated once slowly, with impossible precision. Imperial targeting systems failed to lock despite direct line of sight. Sensors slipped off the hull, unable to resolve distance properly. Space bent slightly around its edges, as if rejecting measurement. Veteran commanders felt something unfamiliar compress their thoughts. Not fear exactly, but certainty collapsing internally. This thing had not been built to intimidate. It had been built to function. Humanity's hidden supercarrier did not maneuver theatrically or threaten preemptively. It aligned itself calmly at the invasion fleet's center of mass. Positioning alone disrupted every engagement algorithm simultaneously. Imperial coordination fractured under cascading recalculation loops. No weapons fired, yet the battle had already begun. The supercarrier's presence corrupted prediction itself. Imperial commanders attempted retreat commands, encountering delayed execution inexplicably. Signal latency increased unevenly across ships nearest the anomaly. Some vessels reported time dilation, others experienced momentary sensor blindness. None could explain how the structure manipulated space so effortlessly. Then the first Imperial cruiser shut down completely. Not destroyed, not disabled violently, simply inactive, drifting powerless. Its reactors were intact, crew alive, weapons untouched. It had been removed from relevance instantly. Moments later, another ship followed, then another in expanding sequence. The Supercarrier had not fired weapons conventionally. It was editing the battlefield directly. Imperial fleets relied on shields, armor, energy output. None of that mattered when systems were selectively nullified. Command AIs attempted countermeasures, encountering logic traps too complex to escape. Human engineering ignored symmetry, tradition, and elegance. It optimized ruthlessly for outcome. The Supercarrier revealed nothing more than necessary. Its capabilities unfolded incrementally, measured and precise. It allowed observation without explanation. It let the Empire understand defeat without understanding cause. Humanity had not emerged screaming defiance. They had arrived silently, finished waiting. The moment the Supercarrier acted, the Galactic Empire realized miscalculation had become catastrophe. Weapon systems activated automatically on fleet ships, but targets never responded as expected. Shields fluctuated erratically, then failed selectively, leaving some vessels exposed while others remained inexplicably intact. The human command had anticipated every protocol the Empire relied upon. Cascading failures spread through the Armada faster than any countermeasure could engage. The cruisers drifted inert, reactors humming silently, unable to connect with command. Missiles detonated mid-space against nothing. Energy beams dissipated without effect, as if reality itself rejected Imperial interference. Humans did not strike with rage. They executed with precision. Every maneuver calculated to minimize collateral risk and maximize effect. The Empire's Central Command attempted to respond, issuing simultaneous commands to multiple fleets. Responses became contradictory. Ships collided, formations fractured under perfect timing. Human tactical patterns exploited weaknesses never observed before in interstellar warfare. Ships attempting evasive maneuvers found themselves redirected subtly by spatial manipulations. Faster-than-light jumps misaligned, arriving decades off schedule, leaving vessels stranded alone in hostile territory. Communication networks failed piece by piece, isolating squadrons entirely from command. Alien AI struggled against algorithms designed not to overwhelm but to anticipate. Each countermeasure deployed by Imperial engineers was anticipated and rendered irrelevant. The fleet's morale collapsed invisibly, logic failing faster than emotion. Alien officers could not reconcile battlefield outcomes with probability models. They believed their doctrine infallible, but humans had rewritten the rules without announcing intent. Rather than firing indiscriminately, the Supercarrier disabled first, observed next, and then acted. Ships that might have posed threats were neutralized silently. Those already disabled were left to drift, a warning and an example. Humanity's approach was surgical, not theatrical. Victories were catalogued, outcomes executed, no celebration broadcast. The Empire realized destruction was not random but deliberate, executed with a patience that made speed irrelevant. Every contingency the Empire relied on, overwhelming force, predictive analysis, preemptive strikes, was exploited and nullified. The collapse was inevitable because humans understood systems the Empire had never considered. Data streams became weapons themselves, misinformation embedded in real-time sensor outputs, folding fleets into chaos. Ships misfired, collided, or self-destructed, all under calculated influence. Not a single human vessel lost in the process, all preserved as if untouched by conflict. The Supercarrier moved among them, a ghost guiding outcome, invisible in intent, undeniable in effect. Alien attempts at negotiation failed. No channel existed humans had not already anticipated. Commanders and AI alike struggled to comprehend cause and effect simultaneously. Some fleets surrendered instinctively, others fought until destroyed, all decisions made inconsequential. The human strategy was complete before the Empire fully recognized the battle had begun. It was not war as the Empire defined it, it was the rewriting of victory. The galaxy's most dominant force was reduced to confusion, inaction, and scattered wreckage within cycles that felt instantaneous. Every surviving alien recorded humanity as anomaly, contradiction, and threat beyond prediction. No planets were bombarded, no satellites shattered unnecessarily. Destruction occurred only where inefficiency existed. Empire records would later show fleets vanished or failed catastrophically, but the truth was precise, intentional, and undeniably human. In hours, centuries of dominance were undermined, their methods exposed as obsolete. Humanity had not fought for survival, they had fought to demonstrate understanding far beyond assumption. When the battle ended, the Empire was incapacitated, fleets scattered, and every trace of superiority called into question. Victory was absolute, controlled, and executed without a single human life unnecessarily risked. The Supercarrier had not conquered for pride, it had demonstrated inevitability, patience, and mastery. Aliens had underestimated humans completely, and the galaxy now understood they had misjudged the impossible. The galaxy reeled from the aftermath. The Imperial Armada, once unchallengeable, was fragmented, inert, and directionless. Command hierarchies were shattered, fleets drifted without orders, and automated systems awaited impossible instructions. Every observation recorded the humans' intervention as surgical, precise, and terrifyingly efficient. Yet the perpetrators themselves had vanished entirely. The Supercarrier, the engine of humanity's dominance, left no trace, no signature, no lingering presence in the system. Not a trace of propulsion, radiation, or energy leakage remained. It was as if space had never been occupied. Civilizations that had relied on imperial authority for centuries now faced chaos without precedent. Formerly subjugated species scrambled to understand what had happened, only to find answers unavailable. Reports described entire fleets immobilized, yet the cause remained intangible, almost metaphysical. Galactic Council members convened emergency sessions, yet no models could account for the events. Humanity had rewritten the rules of engagement without notification, leaving the galaxy to interpret the consequences. Search efforts yielded nothing. No weapons platforms, no colonies, no debris beyond what had been deliberately neutralized. Entire star systems became silent witnesses, their planetary defenses untouched, yet fleets never returned to command. Humans did not claim territory, issue ultimatums, or broadcast triumph. They had executed the operation with clarity, efficiency, and restraint. What remained was not conquest but warning, a demonstration of power beyond comprehension. Alien intelligence could only theorize, using centuries of data to approximate the impossible. Every hypothesis failed under observation. Every probability model collapsed. It became evident that humanity had not acted for expansion or vengeance. Every calculated strike, every neutralization, had served to convey capability without spectacle. Civilizations across the galaxy adjusted plans, fearing human return yet unable to locate the architects. Legends spread through data channels and memory banks, describing a force that appeared, crushed an empire, and vanished. The vacuum left by the Supercarrier became a new center of speculation, its absence more influential than presence ever could be. Galactic security protocols were rewritten, fleets scattered defensively, yet no pattern could anticipate where humanity might appear next. The psychological effect was profound. Species that had relied on certainty now operated under doubt. Trust in predictive models evaporated. The Empire's aura of inevitability dissolved. Planets once complacent under Imperial protection rearmed independently, fearing unseen observation. Humanity became simultaneously myth and reality, a force defined by capability rather than visibility. Alien historians recorded every moment meticulously, yet all conclusions remained speculative. The Supercarrier's disappearance left the question, had humans truly departed or merely withdrawn to strike at a chosen moment? This ambiguity amplified their dominance. Power unobserved became power eternal. Empires rebuilt cautiously, colonies hesitated to expand, and fleets patrolled without confidence. Every surviving alien officer recognized that confrontation with humanity was not just physical, but existential. The galaxy was no longer a landscape of certainty. It had become a map of potential. Humanity had imposed strategy not through occupation, but through absence. Their return, if it ever occurred, would be on terms entirely their own. The message resonated across civilizations. Humans existed not to be controlled, predicted, or dismissed. Power was not displayed, it was exercised with invisible authority. Galactic records ultimately reflected the paradox. The Empire had been destroyed, yet no human hand remained to claim it. Silence became the final weapon, absence the ultimate strategy. In the emptiness of space, all beings understood the truth. Humanity was both everywhere and nowhere, a force beyond calculation, leaving the galaxy to measure only the void they had left. And in that void, the lesson endured. Humans did not fight for glory, domination, or recognition. They fought to demonstrate that no force, however ancient or absolute, could anticipate the unpredictable. The Supercarrier had vanished, but its impact would echo for millennia, a testament to patience, intelligence, and the quiet inevitability of human mastery. Civilizations would live with that understanding forever, forever wary, forever aware, and forever in awe of the species that had crushed an empire and chosen to remain unseen.